What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video on DCeased Deadplanet. Now guys, for the next couple videos, I'll just be on my new mic, my blue mic that I just got, guys. And I'll be narrating the different issues, giving my thoughts on it. There'll be no green screen because I'm still working out the studio a little bit. I'm still trying to get the mic and the green screen kind of combined in a way so you guys get the green screen and have good audio at the same time. But for right now, guys, you'll just be seeing the comic on the screen, and I'll be just, going through my thoughts, my theories, and of course, explain the issue to you. But guys, last issue on DC's Deadplanet, what we saw was the unliving Darkseid came pretty much out of Apocalypse, guys. If you don't remember, in DC's, the original series, in issue number 1, Darkseid died. He was like one of the first ones to turn to like anti-life. And what happened was he got the Black Racer, and he took over Cyborg. Cyborg was like the reason the whole virus was created, and then Darkseid became an unliving Darkseid, killed Desaad, destroyed Apocalypse, and he's just been gone ever since. But now he's back, but we don't really see him in this issue. What we see in this issue is what the other heroes, like Constantine, Batman, aka Damian Wayne, and we also got Jason Todd, Rose Wilson, and other different heroes are doing. So it's a very interesting issue, guys, and it sets up a lot of big things that are going to be happening in the next few issues. But yeah, guys, if you haven't liked the video, give it a big thumbs up and comment down below all your thoughts on this issue and your theories for the final 2 issues of this series. But yeah, jumping into this issue, guys, what we see is we start out at the Tower of Fate inside the Gotham Garden, and we see Dr. Fate and Constantine. They're pretty much just looking at a door, right? And Dr. Fate says, "What are you doing, Constantine?" And Constantine says, "Dr. Fate, fancy finding you floating here." That's when Dr. Fate says, "What's in this room? Why can't I see behind it?" And Constantine says, because the door is closed. And Dr. Fate says, "No doors are closed to Dr. Fate." That's when Constantine says, I mean, that's a good line, but it's clearly not true. Now, Dr. Fate then says, "What do you keep inside?" And Constantine says, "Oh, just a rack of identical trench coats." And Dr. Fate responds, "Why can't I enter?" And Constantine says, "Have you tried the handle?" And Dr. Fate says, "There is no handle." That's when Constantine gets his hand rested by the door and a handle appears. Now, that's when Constantine says, "Okay, mate." He opens up the door and you hear a click. That's when he starts walking in. Before he makes it in, though, he says to Dr. Fate, "Look, don't worry about it. This is a Tower of Fate, so whatever is in here clearly is meant to be here. Otherwise, you have to rename the place." So Constantine's pretty much telling Dr. Fate, hey, if what is in here is not supposed to be here, then it pretty much discredits what this whole place is all about. It makes the whole name of the Tower of Fate mean nothing. Now, Constantine walks in, and we see Etrigan the demon. And Etrigan says, "Why have you summoned me, you sad Merlin wannabe?" And that's when Constantine says, "You know why I summoned you, Etrigan? You're just plain dumb, because you're overreaching for a rhyme. What's the update from hell? How long until Trigon comes?" And Etrigan says, "You should fear, he'll soon be here." That's when Constantine then pretty much he's like, ugh. And he says, "Why is poetry always so damn vague? Well, just give me an answer." That's when Etrigan says, he's pretty pissed. "I'd say 3 turns till all life and unlife on this world burns." Now, that's when Constantine looks to the shadows, and we see Swamp Thing. And that's when Constantine says, "Heard enough?" And Swamp Thing says, "Yes." And Constantine says, 3 days, Swamp Thing. You understand all life burning will mean the green as well." That's when Constantine says, "You can go, Etrigan." And Swamp Thing says, "Yes." And Etrigan goes into the blazing fire, and as he leaves, he says, "See you in hell, scruffing infidel." That's when we see Swamp Thing, and he says, "The Australian garden, Constantine, the green still cries out." And Constantine says, "I'll deal with Australia. I'll need to if this is going to work." That's when we see them walking out with the cloak of Ragman. And Dr. Fate says, "Swamp Thing, what does that room hold?" And as Swamp Thing walks past him, he says, "A rack of coats." And Constantine says, "Heh." They walk out of the Tower of Fate, and Swamp Thing says to Constantine, what are you thinking? And Constantine says, I'm thinking we have one chance, but I need to hide this from some friends who won't approve. We'll need people who won't mind dealing out a bit of punishment for the greater good. Now, we come upon Damian Wayne, and we have this nice scene, guys, of Damian Wayne. He's chilling with Ace the Bat Hound, and you can see they have a really good relationship. But Constantine goes up to Batman, right, and says, yeah, so how's it going? And Damian says, what do you need? And Constantine says, I need to do some questionable things. I need to do them while Mary Marvel is galaxies away, and I could use a team to keep me alive. I can't say more, but it's for the good of the world and all that. Now Damian stands up and says, not good enough. And Constantine says, you don't trust me. And Damian says, I mean, of course not. And Damian continues, you tell me all the truth, I'll help, and I'll know if you're lying. And Constantine then says, no, you won't. And Batman looks at him, and Constantine says, you will, won't you? You're like your dad. Fine. That's when he tells Damian the whole plan. And we see them start to walk, and Damian says, that's a lot. Are you planning on killing anyone? And Constantine says, guys, this is a very important line, alright? He says, no one will die who isn't already dead. Now, they keep walking, and Constantine says, you won't change my mind, and it's the only way. And Damian says, you said you need a team. And Constantine says, yes, the others are waiting. And we see Red Hood, the Ravager, aka Jason Todd and Rose Wilson. And we find out they're actually married, guys. Damian says it's going to be the Bat Family, Swamp Thing, and Rose, right? But Jason responds, hey, no, Rose and me are married. And Cassandra Cain being there says, so Rose is family. So we establish this whole thing that Rose is family. Damian hugs both Rose and Jason. He's very happy for them, right? And we see Damian tell Rose, hey, just bring all your father issues into this, because we know that Rose's father is Deathstroke. Now we continue, and we see Swamp Thing. And Constantine then uses a spell, and Swamp Thing then goes into the ground and leads them to the League of Assassins. And we see Swamp Thing, he comes out, and he's more red now. He's not green anymore. And he says, I have arrived. I have reached the hidden sea of Nanda Parbat. And we see the other heroes come out of a portal. And we see Jason Todd. He says, that's a lot of anti-living. Damian says they look like League of Assassins. I heard the sensei used to try to attack Nanda Parbat with them all the time. Now we see the anti-life start attacking. They're coming forth. And Damian says, I guess he was trying again when the virus hits. And he continues, can't you get us aside to say either of you? And Constantine says, it's easy enough to get out of. But Ramakusha is pretty good at stopping unwanted magical users dropping in. And Swamp Thing says, and even the green can't bypass those walls. Jason says, well, at least we don't have to hold back. And Damian says, yes, we do. And Jason's initial response is, you want us to not put down the undead assassins? You've changed. And Damian says, I have. If there's a cure, we can't kill people. And Rose says, can we break their bones and put holes in them? And Damian says, oh, of course. And we see all the heroes start fighting. We see Cassandra Cain just hit a undead League of Assassins member in the face. It's a very cool splash image, and it shows how great the art is in this whole entire series. Now we continue, and Constantine says, get to the gates. And Cassandra Cain says, and then? And Constantine says, and we see Jason and Ravager, or Rose, fight out against these undead, pretty much the anti-life, right? And Jason says, Rose, any flashes of the future would be pretty appreciated right now. Any, insight on what to do when we reach the gate? And Rose says, we knock, politely. Keep the blight off me. And Jason, as he shoots, says, of course, keeping undead off each other was in our vows. We see Rose. She knocks on the door, and the dead man walks up. He says, my friends, welcome to Nanda Parbat. And we see all these League of Assassin members come out, and they start fighting off against the Blight. And we see Rose. She says, you're Boston Brand. Why can't I see you, dead man? And dead man says, things work a little differently in Ramakusha Sea, Rose. And he starts to walk into the sea and the heroes follow. Deadman concludes with, "Follow me. Would you like something to drink? Maybe some snacks?" And we see the Spear of Destiny. And Constantine meets up with Ramakusha, this goddess. And Ramakusha says, "Is that why you've come, Hellblazer?" And the Hellblazer says, "Yep, this is why I'm here, Ramakusha." Ramakusha says, "You think with all the death out there, I would allow more. My home is yours while you're here, Constantine, but I would never allow you to take the Holy Lance." And the Hellblazer says, "I know. I'm sorry." He gives the Spear of Destiny and stabs it into Ramakusha, and she screams. You hear a shock. And that's when she keeps screaming, and the Deadman says, "No, what?" He starts to charge at Constantine, but Constantine takes out the Cloak of Ragman and he traps Deadman in it. He takes out Deadman for the time being. And that's when we see Jason Todd. He runs over and he says, "What happened?" And Cassandra Cain says, "What did you do?" And Constantine says, "We're leaving." They go through a portal and they make it to this other location. That's when Jason says, "Seriously, what the hell was that?" And Constantine says, "Don't worry about it." And Jason says, "Don't worry about it. You stabbed a goddess." Jason has his hands out. He's like, "Bro, you just stabbed a goddess and you're not going to tell us what's going on?" Like, I can feel for Jason here. Like, imagine, you're with Constantine, right? He just stabbed a goddess and you don't even know what's going on. Now we continue. Batman says, "Where have you brought us? What is this place?" And Swamp Thing says, "The Rock of Eternity, the home of the wizard Shazam. We need his staff." And Jason says, "You plan on stabbing him for it?" And Constantine says, "Honestly, I'm hoping we could just have a little chat with the man." And Rose says, "No." And that's when Jason says, "Rose, are you okay?" And Rose says, "We have to leave." And Rose looks and you see lightning in the distance. And she says, "Get us out of here, Constantine." She starts shooting, you hear blam, blam, blam. But that's when we see Freddy, one of the Shazams. He starts charging toward them. You keep hearing bang, bang, bang. But that's when he charges into Jason Todd, the Red Hood. Red Hood gets hit into a wall. He's cracked in half. And you hear a crunch. He falls to the ground. But that's when Swamp Thing starts to contain Freddy with his vines. Now, that's when Batman starts to throw batarangs at Freddy. You hear a cocoon. You have different explosions. Now, Rose takes off her mask. She goes over to Jason. She says, "Jason." But she sees the wizard, the undead wizard behind her. She throws a knife at him, takes him down. You hear a shick. Now, that's when Constantine says, "Find the staff." And Batman says, "Can we use it against Freddy?" And Constantine says, "Only the pure of heart can access the wizard's powers. And that isn't any of us." But that's when we see Cassandra Cain. She then says, "It's here." She grabs the staff and she's pure of heart. She gets the powers of Shazam. You hear her say, "Shazam!" She gets the power of Shazam with a Batgirl costume on. Now she goes to attack Freddy. They exchange blows. You hear a crunch. You hear a coom. She kicks Freddy into the ground. She wins this battle. It's a very epic moment for her character. Now, that's when we shift to Rose. Rose says, "Jason, I'm sorry. I saw it, but I couldn't." And Jason says, "Hey, it's okay. I died before. I'm not so afraid this time. I was just lucky. I got a second life. And my second life was with you." They kiss, and Jason Todd dies once again. And Rose is mad, guys. You see the heroes, they make it back to the garden in Gotham. Cassandra Cain, still having the powers of Shazam, has Jason Todd in her arms. And you see Rose, she's mad. She says to the Hellblazer, "Promise me this was worth it." And Constantine says, "I promise this was the only way. If I'm wrong, we'll all be too dead to notice." Now, Damian Wayne says, "I saw you. You took Boston Brand. You said no one would die." And Constantine says, "I told you I wouldn't kill anyone who wasn't already dead." And Damian smacks Constantine across the face, and you hear a crack. Constantine falls to the ground, and Damian Wayne walks away. But that's when we see the Spectre. He shows up, he's huge. He says, "You deserve that." And Constantine says, "Oh, what a shock. The Ghost of Wrath thinks I deserve a punch to the face." And Spectre says, "You're holding an object that can end me. That is concerning. I can stop what you're doing, Constantine." And Constantine says, "Yeah, I know. But you're the Spectre. You're the spirit of vengeance. Why don't you use all that power and channel it into a bit of insight? What do you think I'm motivated by?" But that's when the Spectre looks at him, and he disappears. The Spectre flies away and says, "Good night, John." And John says, "Good night, Jimmy." And it says, next, things get worse. Now guys, this is a very cool issue, because one, we got to see Constantine really be in the spotlight, right? We got to see Constantine, he killed Ramakusha. It was a very epic moment. He got the Spirit of Destiny and just stabbed her. Also, seeing Constantine go to the Rock of Eternity, we see that Constantine is kind of like the main character. He's trying to save everyone, but that's gonna cost some things. That'll cost some loyalties that he has. That'll cost some things that he's built over time. And Damian Wayne's against him. Rose is obviously against him now that Jason Todd is dead. Like, guys, we find out that Rose is married to Jason Todd, which I honestly thought was a little rushed. Because, yeah, it's kind of cool. I liked it. And Jason Todd's death was emotional. But I felt like Tom Taylor could have been, like, relied on that a little more. Like, actually spent more time with Rose and Jason's relationship. May spent more than just one issue, because it's a very important relationship, especially if you read the DCeased Unkillables miniseries. You'll really feel for this relationship, and to see it just end like that was a little disappointing. Now, that was kind of disappointing, but what was really cool was Cassandra Cain becoming like Shazam. Guys, seeing Cassandra Cain get pretty much the staff, become Shazam. She's in the original Batgirl costume. It was just so dope. It was just so epic, and probably the best moment in this entire issue, at least for me, guys. So I really like that, and I like that she's still Shazam by the end of the issue, because it'll be cool to see her actually factor into the final battle. Now, Harrison's artwork, guys, the artist in this issue, did a great job. Like, his page where you see all the heroes fight out against the undead League of Assassins was really bright. It stuck off the page, right? It really bounced off the page. It got me excited. Like, his artwork fits the tone and the excitement that Tom Taylor is bringing to this series, guys. Like, it obviously shows that Tom Taylor is loving this series. He's loving writing it, and I'm excited to keep reading it, guys. But some theories I have, one, Trigon and Darkseid will eventually fight for sure. That's gonna be so cool, and probably issue number 7. I'm really looking forward to that, and I probably think that you guys are too. But what other theories do you guys have? How will this resolve? Will the whole Earth just get destroyed, or this new planet, guys? Or actually, well, no, we're not on the new planet. We're actually on Earth, but will it actually finally get destroyed? Will Trigon and Darkseid end the entire universe? We don't know. I trust that Tom Taylor will bring this series to a good close. But guys, overall, I'll give this issue a 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend it, and you should definitely check it out, guys. If you've been following this series, or even if you're a big fan of Cassandra Cain or the Hellblazer, there's so many great character moments in this issue. The only character moments that was kind of rushed, though, was Rose and Jason. Tell me your thoughts on actually that down below. Them getting married and the Jason just suddenly get killed. I thought that was a little rushed, but that was the only problem, for me at least, for the issue. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.